Hello and welcome to another Duel review. This one was sent to me by my new account too, also known as James Ark, also known as Lock Extreme. Perhaps one of the absolute best ladder players right now. Is as of this moment that I'm recording this, the number one ranked player on Dueling Book and by a margin of almost 200 rating points at I think 1678 or something, with the next player being at 1484. Or something along those lines. So, it would appear we're playing Chaos Turbo, seeing the Rageka Break and the Kaiko. Could still be some control variant, but I don't think James, as I will call this person, really believes in those cards. James and I have also tried to record one of these together. I really hope to make that work, but unfortunately, uh, my technical equipment is awful. That is my computer, and I don't think it can really handle the screen sharing as well as the screen recording, which is very unfortunate. So our opponent apparently drew double Fun Dragon off of the Graceful, which is quite awful. I also play Air Knight, which is kind of cool. So what do we do here? First decision of the game. I guess we just run the Kaiko into the set and pray. You could lead with the Storm. I wouldn't. You could also say that we Regeki break the set, fearing the Faith, but we have no good discard fodder, so I don't think we can afford to do that. Decides to go for the Sangan, which I think is a bit weird, for a couple of reasons. It doesn't run over the Koichi, which I think is important. Also, Dark Mimics. I also think we want to run those over. And it's exposed to Chaos Monster, if that becomes relevant, while the Kaiko is not. But if the Sangan ends up in the graveyard when our Geki Break is live, so no, it's probably fine. Sets the ring, I agree with that. Gets her off for an MST. They go Graceful again. We have a Fun Dragon that we know of, and we're playing Jinso. But we're not playing as Reasoning Gate, as we're running Magician of Faith. Bit weird. Our opponent has not played a rated match on this account before this. So this is a game where our opponent has resolved double Graceful and a Pot of Greed, and we've only had one turn so far. So I think it's quite obvious that we summon the Kaika and swing, leading with the Kaika. You could lead with the Sangan. I think that's a bit optimistic. But yeah, I guess the 1000 points of damage doesn't matter, and the off chance that its Kaika gets to connect is worth a lot. So yeah, I agree with this. This is better. Sets the Regeki Break, yeah, I think that makes sense. So Premature is going to target Jinzo. I mean, that's awful for us. We could just let it happen and then respond with a Storm, but at that point we might as well use the Regeki Break, I feel. But yeah, we're so far behind. Yeah, I think I would use the Regeki Break. No idea what I would discard though. Discards the Chaos Sorcerer, sure. And this is just completely hopeless at this point. Grabs the Tsukiyomi, so we are running Tsukiyomi in our main deck in our turbo list along with Kaiko. Very interesting. Do we get Dust Shot? No. Right, so at this point I think we just play the Heavy Storm. Can't afford for one to have a Battle Trap. But James declines and is paid off. Keeps the Storm and just sets the Torrential. So now what? Set the Koji Pass. Summons the Koji and attacks, so that if the opponent has a Dekoichi, our Dekoichi is going to be dominating it, and we will have field presence. And if we were to set our Dekoichi, they would have the opportunity to flip-flop their set monster with the Tsukiyomi. Now, unfortunately, we're going to run into Spy here. So, as it turns out, it would have been better to set the Dekoichi. But this is obviously a reasonable play that James goes for. So, I think I would wait for the Tsukiyomi to come down. Yeah, perhaps I'm a bit greedy. I can take 2400 in the worst case scenario. So now we go for the storm. I'm not sure what we put them on there, but yeah, this is as good a time to storm as any, seeing as we're going for the BLS here. Because that's not a dust shoot, so that was not a worry. Yeah, I'm not completely sure what we're trying to hit. Maybe ring. But there's no ring because it's Tsukiyomi connected, right? Like what set cardless are Tsukiyomi connect? But maybe that's why we use the storm, because it's a bit weird. Could be torrential, I guess. Okay, so we're going to go for the Bilas here. And imagine we're going to go for the Tsukiyomi to play on Snatch. No. But the Nobleman gets us either way, because they have a Tsukiyomi. This way they had to invest in normal summon. But man, if they had the Snatch there, we just lose. And we don't really have any tells that there isn't a Snatch. So that's risky. But when you're so far behind, you gotta take risks. But that's not a risk I would have taken, I don't think. It does pay off, of course. So set Faith Pass. Not much to hope for. Okay, so from here we could climb back. I think we flip the Faith, the Storm, and pray the Storm resolves. Nope, we don't get to do that. Set the Break Pass. Yeah, we'll let that through because we have that Tsukiyomi. So we could snipe their back row here because our opponent knows that we have Tsukiyomi and we know that they know. So it's unlikely we would go for this play if their back row wasn't relevant. So I would go for the Raigeki break. James once again does not agree. Yeah, that was a quite weak back row. So at this point we just pass, yep. So do we use the Raigeki break here? Yeah, because our spy is dominated by the tribe. Well, we could let the Tsugimi flip it, normal summon spy and run it over, but that doesn't feel like a great management of resources. So here we could do something like summon spy, flip the Tsugimi to flip down the spy. Very poor into torrential. I think just setting the spy is the player. Sets the serpent. Wants to summon Thunder Dragon, I suppose, or bait out a Raigeki break or such. Nope. Okay. Oh, so this gives our Tsukiyomi a, what do you call it? A chance to flip, an opportunity to flip. So we attack with the Tsukiyomi and then I think we just set the flip here. 'Cause we don't really want to tribute some of the Thunder Dragon into Torrential, which they still could have. Seeing as we know we have the Thunder Dragon, we know that the set monster is a Serpent, so we could very well delay it. And also developing these flips is a priority, and getting the Serpent out of the field is often a priority because you don't want it to run into a nobleman or a BLS or case sorcerer, but at this point that's not as urgent of a concern. What's more urgent is getting these flips rolling. I agree with going for the Dekoichi also, because field presence, while it's very important, digging deeper into our deck is more important at this point. So here, I wonder if we play 3 spies or 2, that is going to influence our decision. I think we should play with Tsukiyomi. It could be that it's a bit slow, but I think that's the line. And I think we should play it before attacking, so that a potential torrential, which I still believe it could have, would be worse. Decides to attack first, I think this is slightly worse. Okay, so James decides to play it not quite as slow, and this is less greedy, I will admit, but this is also the kind of line that could result in us running out of resources. Here is another reason why I want to get your Serpent out of the field. Not that I think James should have prioritized this case. I think they are right to leave it there, but this is a downside. In case of delinquent duo or card destruction, you do want it in your hand. So here I assume we get rid of the spy. Yeah, that wasn't the worst duo for us. It was actually quite fair. So we could flip the spy here, but that would run into Torrential and Mirror Force. Not that that would be the end of the world, but it's not something we want to happen. However, I am a bit worried. Are we just going to attack with the Koichi and leave everything else as is? Because I would be tempted to check for Torrential with the Spy flip. So that we can deploy our Kaiku if we have the Torrential. And if we don't have the Torrential, we can start Suk looping. Maybe that's a bit loose. Maybe our field is strong enough that we can just sit on it and not worry about trying to make progress. So we're up against Case Control, which we did know as we have seen Metamorphosis. Not sure that influences our decisions at this point, but I think now that we've seen the scapegoat, we're willing to sound that Tsukiyomi into a potential torrential. Decides to flip the spy. Is this the check for the torrential? That could be it actually. I'm convinced there's no torrential. I would flop my Dekoichi. I'm not completely sure why we flipped the spy. Looks a bit odd to me. So we're going for Chaos Sorcerer. Not much to do. And they decide to attack. That seems, frankly put, awful. We flip the Mirror Force. Makes sense, as we can't actually out the Sorcerer right now. They go for a book and they pass. So at this point, I'm still into Tsukiyomi flip-flopping the Dekoichi. Yeah. And at this point, I think we attempt to clear the free go tokens with the free monsters that we currently have in attack position. If they get mirror forced, that's not the end of the world, although it's definitely not something we want. You could switch the spy, but I'm not so sure that's better. Decides to switch the spy, also makes sense. You could argue that this is enough to force the mirror force, as our opponent probably wants to get rid of our Tsukiyomi. sets the duo trying to bait an MST. I don't think our opponent is ever going to run Dust Tornado in a Metamorphosis deck, and probably not too many copies of Regeki Break. And if we do run the second copy, which is quite common, I don't think they would waste it on our back row here. So I'm actually not sure why we're setting this duo. Could get sniped by Breaker, which I guess you could argue is profitable. Could also argue that's a bad thing. I would probably have held on to it. Also, I think worth noting is that by holding on to it, we discourage them from setting more back row, which makes the duo better. But James likely has thought of something that I haven't. Take 900, and there's the ring, and we lose. So that was unfortunate. We fought hard to get back into the game there, but we fell so far behind early on. We did play well, and our opponent, I don't think, played accurately enough. So we live with the card destruction. None of these cards are premiums. We have then Assailant Spy, so we just want to dig as deep as possible. If we had, say, a Dekoichi in addition to the Assailant and the Spy, you could make a case for setting that before using the card destruction. I would like to hear James' opinion on that, and, well, everyone's opinion, really. So, if you have a strong opinion, would you have set the Dekoichi before using the card destruction, or would you have discarded it along? Because I'm so scared of not drawing into a efficient set. I guess the 97 does give us a good set in the Spy, so perhaps that's not an issue. Okay, so set Spy. You could set the book. I don't see any need to do so, because there wasn't any Serpent, right? Yeah, I think we just set the Spy pass. Of course, after using the Thunder Dragon. And they find Thunder Dragon Charity off of our card section, which is unfortunate. And there's a BLS. Looking bad. We snatch the BLS, of course, banish the set, and then we have a choice of whether or not to tribute some of a Thunder Dragon. I would not, seeing as we have the Book of Moon, so I would set the book behind the BLS and set the Dekoichi next to it. Decides to switch BLS into attack mode. I'm not sure I understand that. Yeah, I don't see why that would be any better. It's worse against... Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. So, flip the Dekoichi. Decides to go for the BLS banish first, which makes sense. Yeah, that's better. And summons the Sangan. So now we switch the BLS and we attack. I'm not sure if I would have summoned the Sangan there. I think I would have been scared of a Torrential. Yeah, I probably would have set the Sangan. I think if they want to trigger the Torrential, they'll have to do it on their turn using their own normal summon. I think we're letting them off a bit easier. But then again, if they have the Torrential, it's by no means like the end of the world. It's not even that bad. But if I don't, summon the Sangan is strictly better, right? So I guess this is fair. The shoot send source, moth source Jinso, and a pot of greed. Alright, and we decide to send a source. Uh, yeah, that's a good hand. We can't take both the source, but yeah, those are the strongest cards for sure. Could make a case for Magician of Faith, but we have the Nobleman, so nope. We decide not to summon a Chaos Sorcerer. That seems very, very, very suspicious. But now we use the book and we win the game. So now we flip the BLS and banish the Magician of Faith. But I guess we should lead with attacking with our smaller guys to clear the goats, not playing into Mirror Force. Yeah, James agrees. Whoa, this can't be described in another way than being scared of Snatch and or Torrential, right? Could that be a Torrential? Oh, so by keeping the BLS set, it's safe from the Chaos Sorcerer on the opposing side, which we can't out. Wow, okay, this makes sense. Cool. I like it. Nice play. With tribute summon, with tribute set, the Thunder Dragon, tribute in the second, adding Tsukiomi. Tsukiomi, I guess, makes sense. Good for Tsuk looping the Dekoichi, and also the BLS to dodge the Chaos Sorcerer in the future. Yeah, nice play. But yeah, this is just perfect for us, right? So how do we sequence this? Do we know there's no Torrential? I'm not sure. I mean, we could claim that Torrential is going to be good here, and we just have to pray we don't have it. So, flip BLS, banish Kaiku. Yeah, summon Tsukiomi, attack into Mirror Force. Scapegoat again. Okay, so we only have a case sorcerer, so set the Regeki break. From this point, we should win. This should not be a problem. No, we don't have to play on Mirror Force, so we go for Tsukiomi post. Battle phase. Still, we don't have to play around the. We want to play around the case sorcerer, even if we don't absolutely have to. Target Jinso. So we're just doing this to flip up our Black Lotus Soldier, I think. I think we can use the Regeki break onto the premature in response, saving the book. But you can also use the book. I'm not sure which is better. Not going to dwell. Yeah, there we go. That is again setting the serpent, seeing as we have a BLS in play. We're going to take 46 here. Gonna pass. Their hand is case versus serpent. You could have made the case that they should have run the serpent into the BLS there, taking 22. But man, that's rough. Yeah. So let's see if I have... No. Okay. There we go. So that was nice by James. Completely blanking the Chaos Sorcerer by hiding the BLS. They randomly snipe a Raker. I think we'll get rid of the Kaiko here. It could make a case for a Dust Shoot. Get rid of the Storm. Also fair. Set Spy. Set double Dust Shoot pass. Not hit by a Dust Shoot. That's nice. I could summon Kaiko, but I think that's a bit optimistic. Flip one Dust Shoot. Wow. So we didn't flip a dust shoot there because we didn't have a set previously, and we already have the Thunder Dragon. But I'm not really sure what we're saving them for. I think that felt as like as good a time as any. You could claim that we're trying to bait the breaker. So I think we flip summon the spy here, attack with both spies. I don't want to summon the Kaiko into Torrential. And if we're going to flip the spy, it's going to be vulnerable to a breaker, and in that case, we might as well put both in attack. And if we want to trade them for a Mirror Force, and that's fine, that makes our Kaiko all that much more likely to connect in the future. James decides to play around Mirror Force. Also, Asura should be mentioned, but I don't think that's an issue. Spy trades for a Torrential. I don't think either player is very unhappy about this. And Kaiko attacks. So here I want to fire off the dust shoot in their standby phase to snipe at Tsukiyomi. Oh, we decided to go for a MST here, which is quite poorly timed. It's good in that we can't change Scapegoat this turn, as we're still in James's end step, but and also there's no Rageki break plays. But yeah, using it at this exact moment is a bit weird. So we're going to flip the dust shoot in response. Take away the Tsukiyomi. Yep, perfect. And they have Aeronite Parshaft, Double Thunder Dragon, and a Heavy Storm. We don't absolutely have to use the Dust Shoot here, but we might want to, because often, if their draw is relevant, that's going to be the first card they play for the turn. So if we want to prevent that from being relevant, this is definitely the moment to flip the Dust Shoot. So is James going to tell us what the last card was? No, we're not. So let's take a peek. It was a Book of Moon. Okay. I don't believe we have materials. No, we don't have a light. So we just keep attacking with Kaiku. Our opponent chooses to book it this time, implying that maybe we drew a nobleman, maybe we drew something like a Sangan, or maybe we drew a way of summoning a chaos monster somehow. Not quite sure actually. Nope. And we can't have a torrential, which is another way you sometimes want to set things. We flip the Kaiku and attack. You know, it would appear we were just trying to save life points. And that's the game. Nice. So this shows that playing Chaos Control with Air Knight and Jinso is a bit suspicious against these Chaos Control Chaos Turbo decks. And even if your opponent draws Trinity, you can simply play well, and that's going to do you a lot of favors. And in James's case, get you to the top of the Duel Book ladder with an absurd lead over the second place. Alright, that's it for today. Feel free to hit me up for replays. I do have enough, but still, I would like more. I would like more different names. So, if you made it this far, hit me up with a replay. It doesn't have to be anything special. Okay, thank you for watching. See you next time.